Okay, I've restarted the filming. Good morning. This September 25th, Monday 2023, and we are in BBA first semester, section A English class. I do this because whenever you open a video, you know what it belongs to. And in the previous class, we had just started reading where do we stand, and we had a list of what we can do when we read, like remembering, understanding, summarizing, analyzing, synthesizing, evaluating, applying, creating, etc. And we began with summarizing or outlining, and we tried to summarize the first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph. The summaries we did may not be very good, but you can practice them at home. Now I'll move to paragraph, just a minute, 4. And you said that you had time to watch the video, so I will try to be a bit faster because I hope you have some idea. So whenever you read an essay, understand that an essay has organization. An essay may have introduction, or why may have, has. For example, in this essay, the first, second, and third paragraphs, or even fourth paragraph, serve as introduction to the topic. Right? What does introduction do? In an essay, introduction is like inverted pyramid. You can visualize introduction like an inverted pyramid. Okay, para 1, para 2, para 3, para 4, let's name 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you see paragraph 1, let me open the chapter. So in paragraph 1, the writer begins with a general remark on how people use space. She paints or portrays a scene, dramatic scene, cocktail party, Arab people, Americans. So what does she makes a general remark on how people use space. Now if you go to paragraph 2, she narrows down and clearly presents the problem. What problem? As you can read, she says that the American feels bullied, the Arab feels chilled. Right? In the first paragraph, she portrays a scene where some people are doing something, and she ends the first paragraph by saying that there is an American in every corner by the end of the party. And we start feeling that something wrong is happening here. Otherwise, why every American will be in the corner? She doesn't tell us clearly. But by the time you come in paragraph 2, she narrows down. And she clearly says that the American feels bullied and the Arab feels chilled. Now, if you see the same second paragraph, read carefully and look what she does. Things would be simpler if these jet setters were speaking different language. They would just get themselves a translator. But the problem is a little tougher because they are using different language of space. Right in paragraph 2, she introduces very clearly her topic, the language of space. And she says that it's tough to understand this language. So you see, para 1 is broad. It says, it makes a broad remark. Para 2 becomes more specific. Now if you see para 3, everyone who has ever felt cramped in a crowd knows that the skin is not the only body's boundary. She becomes more narrow. And what does she say? Skin is, okay, just a minute, not this one. Body's boundary. We each wear a zone of privacy. This is the statement. She says, we each wear a zone of privacy, even narrower, right? Inviting others in or keeping them out with the body language by how closely we approach, the angle at which we face them, the speed with which we break a gaze. It's subtle code, but one we use and interpret easily, indeed automatically, having absorbed vocabulary from infancy. And she says that the use of space is subtle code that we learn from our childhood. Nobody in our families ever taught us kahan chhune ka na chhune kasलाई. Nobody explicitly taught us. These days I see that teachers are teaching good touch and bad touch. Nobody had taught us good touch, bad touch in my childhood days. But if somebody had a bad touch, I understood it's a bad touch. We unconsciously learn such things as we grow in our community, in our family, right? So narrower third. Now, by the time you reach the 4th paragraph, the pyramid becomes narrowest. And look what she says. At least we assume that we are reading it right, but let's write here. But from culture, from culture to culture, from group to group, within a single country, even between sexes, the language of space has distinctive accents, confusing omelettes. Do you see the second sentence in paragraph 2? You can underline if you have the book, or you can highlight. It's good if you stay in my class with a quality highlighter, because time and again I might ask you to highlight something. You should learn the skill of highlighting. Now, this sentence in paragraph 4 We can call this sentence as the thesis statement. If you are writing an essay, what do you mean by a thesis statement if you are writing an essay? Whenever you sit down to write an essay, you have a subject in your mind, then you have a topic in your mind, then you have a title in your mind. Finally, you have an idea in your mind that you want to talk about. And people will listen to you, will read what you have written only if they are convinced that you are saying something important, that you are saying something significant. Otherwise, others will not listen to you. So a thesis statement is an idea. A thesis statement is an idea, but it's not an ordinary idea. It is not a simple idea. It's not ordinary idea. It's very significant, important, interesting idea that you believe others would like to listen about. And a thesis statement, at least to your readers, is a new idea. Because if you say the same old gishipiti things to people, they won't listen to you. You must say something new to people. At least in your circle, the thesis, the idea is a new idea. It's interesting idea. It may be controversial. It may be debatable. When something is controversial, people pay attention to. Have you ever seen this habit? If something is in controversy, they listen to you. So I explained you, I told you about the introduction in a paragraph structure. I was explaining the format of an academic essay. And I said the format of an academic essay has 3 parts, just as human body can be said to have 3 parts. My face gives my introduction. When you look at the face, you quickly realize this is a male, man, aged. Look, the grey mustache. You recognize, oh, this is my English teacher at LSCM. He comes to my class. You recognize me. Then below the throat, neck, whatever you call, you have the torso. You have the torso. We call this torso. And it is this portion that contains all vital organs of the body. It contains all vital organs of the body. From genitals to the heart, to the lungs, food pipe, everything. Right? Then you have, below the torso, you have 2 trunks on which I stand, my legs. In the same way, an essay has introduction. Like the torso of the body, it has discussion section, and finally it has conclusion section. And I gave an example how you can structure your introduction. There are more than 30 ways to begin an essay. There are more than 30 ways. Let me show you where you have this information. If you, let me show you the page number. Okay, here are 10. On page 106 of your book, 10 of them are given. You can do some internet search and just ask what may be the different ways to start an essay and get more information, right? So I said your introduction opens with a general remark, then goes narrowing down the topic, and finally your introduction ends with the thesis statement. So in this 18 paragraph essay, para 1, 2, 3 and 4, they form the introduction of the essay. Whenever you write an essay in the exam, you should also spend a couple of paragraphs to introduce your topic. Can I erase it? Can I erase it? Okay. Now, let me neatly rewrite the thesis statement and teach you further. From culture to culture, comma, from group to group, within a single country, comma, even between the sexes, the language of space has distinctive accents, confusing umlauts. I'll write there, and because I want to show you what is the function of this thesis statement. The thesis statement is, my analogy may be funny, like the salt in vegetable. If you have salt, you can add water. How much water you can add depends on how much salt you have put in the vegetable. And even if you put 1 liter of water in the vegetable, the salt will be present throughout as you eat, right? It's never that in one morsel of food you have salt, it's present everywhere. So this idea runs throughout the essay just as salt runs throughout the soup. It's everywhere. This idea controls every paragraph just as your heart controls every body part. I'm making comparison, analogies. Let me show you. First example. So this is an idea. This is an idea. The thesis statement is an idea. And I told you last time that writing stands on 2 feet, just as I'm standing. Writing stands on 2 feet. 1 foot is the idea, and the other foot is details or examples. So paragraph 4 presented the idea. Let's read para 5 and see what's going on here. Para 5. For instance, says international business consultant Sondra Snowdon, Saudi Arabians like to conduct business discussions from within spitting distance. Literally, they bathe in each other's breath as part of building the relationship. Americans back up, says Snowdon, but they are harming their chances of winning the contracts. In seminars, Snowdon discusses the close quarters common in Middle Eastern conversations and has her students practice talking with each other at very chummy distance. Let's analyze this paragraph number 5. How does it start? It starts with the phrase, for instance, which means for example. And all examples are details. So this means para 5 is presenting a detail to support the idea in para 4. Sometimes both idea and detail can come in the same paragraph. Many times a writer can dedicate one paragraph just to present an idea, then can spend other paragraphs to bring detail. This happens especially when the writer is presenting the thesis statement. Because thesis statement is very important, the writer presents only idea in that paragraph and presents details in other paragraphs. How can we know if a paragraph is going to present an idea or detail? One technique is, if a paragraph begins with a phrase like for instance or for example, understand that the paragraph will not present significant idea. It is bringing a detail to support some idea. For instance, look here. Says international, okay, let me write here. International business consultant Sondra Snowdon. Look what she does. She is bringing detail. How does she bring detail? She is referring to an authority.
We have said we means America, and next paragraph we have said they means like people.
Pardon, I didn't get you. Say it.
Like at first you told that in the video, like we means American people.
I agree.
And they means again like next people, like people of like something else.
Please understand that in my videos, I never claim I'm accurate.
No.
I'm a teacher, right?
No, I don't mean to say that.
Ah.
They means like in which way, like I don't know.
Okay, we'll focus when we come to the paragraph. But before we answer a question, I said she brings a detail. How does she bring a detail? She refers to an authority. What is an authority in academic writing? What do you mean by an authority in academic writing? In academic reading and writing, authority means a person who has expert knowledge on a topic and whose words you believe. So in this class, Divakar sir is an authority. She has a confusion, and later Divakar sir will clarify the confusion and she will accept. But if he clarifies, maybe she will doubt. She will say, "Timla mantri आउँछ सरलाई भन्नु देऊ न, तिमी जान्ने हुने बढी." Sorry for this Nepali. Why? He may not have the authority that I have. So authority is someone who has studied a topic, who has got degrees on a topic, and who has knowledge on a topic, and whom you trust. Academic writing is always based on what authorities say, not what laymen say. Social media is based on what laymen say. On Facebook, you never find an authority. That's why what goes on in Facebook has no value in a sense. And what goes on in a research paper has value. Because people referred in research paper, they are university professors. They are scientists. They are psychologists. They are doctors. They have spent years studying on the topic. And when you quote them, people trust what you are saying. Look here. The authority. International business consultant. Look. Sandra Snowdon. Who is she? International business consultant. And on what topic is she speaking? How people from different culture use space in international business conferences, and how this may help you win or lose your business dealing. So the topic we are reading and her qualification matches. So what she is saying is reliable. This is the characteristic of academic writing. That's why those who do academic writing are highly paid and highly respected. Let's read Sandra Snowdon, Saudi Arabians. Now look, she said, from culture to culture, comma. First idea. From culture to culture, comma. Now see the example. From culture to culture. First culture she is talking about is Saudi Arabians. Another culture she talks about is Americans. So in paragraph 5, she mentions how many cultures? How many? 2. Actually, she is expanding this idea from culture to culture. Then look what she says. Saudi Arabians like to conduct business discussions from within spitting distance. Let's write. Conduct business discussions from within spitting distance. So here she is telling how Saudis use space, right? She is telling how Saudis use space. She says they stay so close they might spit on your face as they speak. Be careful. Right? Then about Americans, she says, read ahead. Literally, they bathe in each other's breath. Further, she says, oh God, they bathe in each other's breath. As part of building the relationship. God, I feel difficult to explain this line. It's like intimate relationship, like in romance. You become so close, you breathe each other's smell, and then you build a relationship. God, I don't know how Saudis can go with this kind of behavior, right? Okay, sorry, sometimes I happen to these kind of things, right? You're not kids, okay? I hope you can bear this much. If it is too much, let me know, I'll stop such talk, okay? Because this is college level, so I sometimes feel we can talk about such things also to make things understand. Okay, move ahead. Americans backup, says Snowdon. Now Americans, what do? They back up. Now see, in chapter 1, intercultural communication, page 1, below the picture, in the paragraph, you read that this chapter will talk about cultural differences. Do you remember? And here in second reading, para 5, you have an example of cultural difference. Do you see how the lessons support the idea? Then, chapter 1, intercultural communication, opening page, also said cultural differences result in problems. They result in problems. I'll read here. But they are harming their chances of winning the contract. Look, what is the problem? They means, you were asking, they means? Another feature of writing is a lot of time writers first use a noun to refer someone, and when they talk about the same guy in the same paragraph, second time, they will not use the noun. Second time, they will use a pronoun. For example, here in para 5, line number 4, they use the word American, which is a noun. But if you see the next sentence, where is that? Yes, but they are harming their chances of winning. Let's write here. But they are harming chances of winning their contracts. In this sentence, the pronoun they refers to the noun American, and such reference we call in writing as pronoun reference. What do we call? And this pronoun continues the idea of this noun. This pronoun is referring back, right? It is referring back. So we call it backward reference. What do we call it? Backward. Sometimes pronouns refer to a noun that is yet to come, and we call that forward referring. What do we call? Backward reference and forward reference. And we call this pronoun reference. What do we call? What does pronoun reference do? Pronoun reference connects various sentences in a paragraph. Because unless you know that this they refers the word American, you will not understand the line. So to understand what they means, you must come back and connect with the word American. Then only you understand, oh, they means American. So what does pronoun reference do? It creates connection among various parts of writing. And such connection, such linking among various parts in a piece of writing, we call coherence. What do we call? Coherence means something is at the right place where it should be. Just imagine I bring this boy and make him sit between the two girls. Maybe, not sure, they will feel awkward in the beginning at least, because they're not habituated. Look, a girl goes with a girl, coherence. A boy goes with a boy, coherence. But if I mix a boy with a girl, the coherence might break. And they may complain, Divakar sir, you do such crazy things in class. We feel uncomfortable. So what is coherence? Coherence is when things fit together. What is coherence? When things fit together. In writing, coherence means all parts of your writing, they fit together. And what creates coherence? Pronoun reference creates coherence. Bear it, I'm explaining these things because your course is academic reading and writing course. Your course is academic reading and writing course, and you should know such things. Okay, So what I did, I read the thesis statement in paragraph 4. Then I picked up one portion of the idea from culture to culture. Then I went to paragraph 5. I read, for instance, and I said this phrase tells paragraph 5 will present a detail. Then I read the first sentence and I said this detail comes as authority. Then I explained that authority means somebody who has expertise and knowledge on a topic. Then I said she gives from culture to culture, at least two. She gives two examples, the Saudi and American, two culture. Then I said the opening of the chapter 1 says that there are cultural differences. And we see the difference. Saudis stay so close, they may spit on your face or you may smell their breath. Americans back up cultural difference. Then I said, these cultural differences result with problems of communication. They result with problems of communication. When Americans go to Saudi Arabia to conduct business dealings, business transactions, and when Americans fail to understand that Saudis have no sense of privacy, and Saudis, particularly when they are dealing with other people, they like to come very close. When Americans fail to understand this thing, Americans back up and they create a distance in table talk. And this distance on the table talk makes the Saudi feel that Americans are cold people. They have no relationship. And the Saudis do not sign the business deal. And the Americans lose business contract. So do you see the context? Lisa Davis wrote this essay for those Americans who might be traveling internationally to different cultures for business dealing. And she's teaching, oh, hello Americans, if you happen to be with the Saudis, behave like this. If you happen to be dealing with Japanese, behave like this. And so we know, as you were asking, the primary audience of this essay is Americans. But as we Nepalese read this essay, at least we understand that if we go to a Gurung village, we must know how Gurungs use space. If we go to a Madhesi village, we must know how Madhesis use space. Because even inside Nepal, we have different cultures, they might use space differently. And when I finish this essay, the assignment is we do a small research on how space is used in Nepalese business. That's the research you will do. And you will come up with a research paper, term paper. What did I say? You will do research on how space is used in business locations. Business locations. How do people use space in a supermarket? Visit a supermarket and observe. How do people use space in a local store? What topic I gave you? A mini research on how Nepalese customers and consumers, write it down, how Nepalese customers, consumers and businessmen use non-verbal communication like body language and use a public space while doing business, and how it affects business. This can be a wonderful research topic for you when you reach 7th semester and you write a report here. But now, start from today, Googling. And in coming classes, show me the information you are collecting on this. And by the time I finish, the last point is creating knowledge, right? The last point is creating knowledge. And this is the knowledge you will create. You are reading how Americans use space, Arabians use space, Japanese use space, Mediterraneans use space, North Americans use space, Russians use space, Caucasians use space, Asians use space, and you will write a research paper on how Nepalese use space in business dealing. We have come to the end of the class. Any questions you want to ask me? Any unhappiness in my class? Any anger? So shall I stop the class? Yes. Now, I believe your copies have an outline of my class, right? I believe you are not sitting arms akimbo because I was not giving a pravachan. I am not Babaji with a pravachan. So I believe every time I teach you something, you note down what I say and you apply them. Thank you.